The narrative commences on a war-torn battlefield, where a group of soldiers are tasked with rescuing a physician. However, their informant betrays them, and they find themselves outnumbered and captured by the enemy. Just as all seems lost, a man appears and inquires if he is the commanding officer. The soldiers are taken aback when he speaks their language, Korean, and ask him who he is. The masked individual simply states that he has come to rescue them. As they flee the scene, they observe their adversaries lying motionless on the ground, and the masked man claims to have acted alone. Despite the arrival of more enemies, the masked man single-handedly neutralizes them all. His agility and willingness to take risks leave the commander to conclude that he is a hired gun, not a soldier. The mission is complete, but they are bombed, causing the mercenary's mask to fall off. The commander is shocked to discover that the masked man is a child. The story picks up 6 months later in a South Korean high school, where a new student, Yoo Aijin, is introduced. While his classmates discuss the newcomer, Yoo Aijin's younger sister, Daeun, expresses her surprise, as she had believed him to have died in an accident with their parents a decade earlier. The story takes an unexpected turn when a group of girls confront Daeun, demanding she give up her sports outfit and begin to physically and verbally harass her. Despite the commotion, the other students nearby remain indifferent. On other hand, as Yoo Aijin takes his seat, he too becomes a target and is almost knocked down. He recalls his previous commander's advice to avoid conflict, and, as a skilled mercenary, he is hesitant to engage in battle without understanding the situation in his new country. However, his commander reminds him that it is not his own safety he should be worried about, but that of his opponents. As classes begin, Yoo Aijin reflects on his past experiences of war and is surprised by the peaceful nature of his new surroundings. At the end of the school day, he waits for his sister Daeun to return home with their grandfather. On their way back, they encounter one of Daeun's stalkers who is mocking her along with another individual. The stalker is unaware of who she is dealing with, and despite being advised by his commander to ignore the situation, Yoo Aijin cannot control his anger upon seeing his sister's distress. He swiftly deals with the stalker and the second individual, leaving both on the ground. His sister and the girl who had been harassing him are shocked by his actions, and Yoo Aijin immediately alters his behavior. As Yoo Aijin returns home, he appears to be the perfect family man, always smiling, doing household chores, and expressing happiness to be with his loved ones. However, as he sleeps, he is plagued by nightmares of the plane crash that killed his parents. Upon waking, he finds his sister has prepared breakfast for him, and she informs him she must leave for school early. Later, the girl from the previous day approaches Yoo Aijin, revealing to him that she has informed the leader of a group of stalkers about him and his sister. Determined to harm them, the leader, Vijin, approaches Daeun, physically attacking her and warning her that her brother will suffer as well, because she called her big brother, and apparently her big brother is very strong and scares everyone. And just then we see a group of guys coming to Yoo Aijin's class. Daeun rushes to warn her brother of the danger, arriving at his classroom with visible injuries and blood on her face. Flashback: one of Yoo Aijin's classmates who informs him about Daeun's popularity in high school and how Vijin became jealous and began to harass her. However, since Daeun's older brother Jisoo is a violent individual, no one intervenes. Back in the present, Jisoo and his gang confront Yoo Aijin, but he easily overpowers them. Everyone in the class is shocked at his fighting abilities. Jisoo himself attacks Yoo Aijin, but is quickly defeated. After defeating his sister's tormentor, Daeun compliments Yoo Aijin on his fighting skills. Reflecting on his past experiences in a war-torn country, Yoo Aijin realizes that people put their own interests before those of their family. But now, as he has a family of his own, he begins to understand the importance of protecting loved ones. Elsewhere, Jisoo and his sister argue, with her telling him to stay away from Daeun for fear of Yoo Aijin. However, Daeun's tormentor, Vijin, and her friends continue to harass her and take her to a karaoke, where they beat her while the music masks the sounds. The next day, while on her way to school, Daeun is ambushed by Vijin and her group, but she manages to make it home safely. Yoo Aijin waits for her after class, but she doesn't show up. Upon returning home, he discovers her shoes and realizes she is there. Despite her claim of having a simple fever, he notices blood on her shoes. When he inquires further, She tells him that she fell down the stairs after being hit by a bicycle. She wants to keep the incident quiet, especially since her attackers were masked and a member of a powerful family. However, Yu Aijin is not fooled. He goes straight out of his house and heads for a nightclub. In this nightclub we see Jizu and his gang, who say that they will take revenge on Aijin, and they don't intend to do it fair. At the same time, Jizu gets a call from his sister who tells him that she also took revenge on Dae and Yu during the day. And at the same time Yu Aijin arrives in the nightclub. The timing is perfect, and we don't know how he found them, but that's not the problem now. Yu Aijin expertly fends off the assault from Jizu's gang, using his quick thinking and strategic planning to outmaneuver and defeat them. As he finally corners Jizu, he warns him to be cautious in the future and to keep his sister, Weijin, in check. He threatens Jizu that if she continues to harm Daein, he will be held responsible. Afterwards, Weijin approaches her brother, Jizu, and he scolds her for her actions. He makes it clear that if she harms Daein again, he will personally deal with her. Later, Jizu is seen in a hospital with Weijin and their parents, where Weijin reveals that they were attacked. However, their parents refuse to let the school handle the situation and instead reach out to their connections in the criminal underworld. They ask the mobsters to take care of the person who hurt Jizu and Weijin. They go to Yu Aijin's grandfather's house. However, Yu Aijin, sensing something amiss, follows them without revealing his suspicions. At the mafia's lair, their leader tells Jizu's family that the issue has been resolved, but he notices that Yu Aijin is not intimidated at all. The two henchmen attack Yu Aijin with a bat, but he effortlessly counters and defeats them. The boss is taken aback, realizing that Yu Aijin is not just a typical high school student. He prepares to fight him, but Yu Aijin's precise analysis and expert fighting skills prove too much for the boss to handle. He falls in defeat, admitting that Yu Aijin is highly experienced, and it would be unwise to challenge him. Jizu's parents and Weijin wait anxiously for news from the mafia leader, and when he calls them, the father apologizes for involving them with a high school student. But the mafia leader apologizes for failing in his mission, leaving the father in shock. Because the boss of the mafia is a renowned fighter in the underworld, the parents hear commotion outside their home. To their surprise, it is Yu Aijin who has defeated all their guards and entered their house. The mafia boss even contemplates leaving the business. The parents are shocked and ask Yu Aijin how he found their location, overpowered the guards and entered their house. The mother calls the police, accusing Yu Aijin of assaulting her children, the guards, and breaking into the boss's house. However, Yu Aijin pulls out his phone and shows them a video of Weijin, who had been beating his own sister with his gang, and other evidence of Weijin's misdeeds. He explains that just like them who hired the mafia to protect their children, he was protecting his sister. The father then offers to compensate Yu Aijin for the care of his sister, but he declines, stating that the only thing he wants is that Weijin and his sister never see each other again. The father agrees to send them abroad for their studies. Yu Aijin leaves the house and heads back home, where he assures Daein that she does not have to worry anymore, and that she will never fall down the stairs again, as Weijin and his family will be leaving the country. Daein is shocked to learn that her brother knew about everything, but before leaving Weijin was not ready to let Daein go without consequences. She rallied her friends, and just as they were all gathered together, Yu Aijin entered the room wearing a mask. He announced that it was fortunate that they were all there, the girls who had attacked his sister, in one place. Soon after, a video of a high school student's aggression was aired on TV. And it was indeed Weijin and his friends who were shown in the footage. The mobster came to Yu Aijin at the same time and informed him that he had made a deal with Weijin's family. Yu Aijin realized that he could not resolve the matter publicly, so he had to wait and deal with it discreetly. He told the mobster that he just had a short fuse. He also mentioned that he would now be too busy to deal with him. On TV, evidence emerged of Weijin's father, a congressman, who had laundered money and manipulated the election. It was actually Yu Aijin who had stolen the documents from the mafia boss he had defeated the day before. At school, Daein Yu was now left in peace, and Yu Aijin was able to enjoy his time with his friends. He talked with Yang Shen, who suggested they meet after school. Other students also came to talk to him, now that everyone knew that he had beaten Weijin twice. At the same time, new students arrived in the class. Yuna Shen, the granddaughter of the CEO of SW, the largest company in the country, and her bodyguard Sigju, who who had been raised together since childhood. Yuna is immediately fascinated by Yuijin, as he was not on the list of students she received, and even when she glances at him, Yuijin seems to be purposely ignoring her. Together with Sikju, Yuna decides to investigate more about Yuijin's identity and reasons for returning to school just a week before their own return. Meanwhile, Yuijin is enjoying time with his friends at the internet cafe and spending quality time with his family at home. He occasionally experiences flashbacks of his past life as a mercenary when his commanders reach out to him. Amongst his high school friends, they speculate on who would win in a fight between Yuijin and Sikju, but they all agree that Sikju's professional training and abilities far surpass Yuijin's. Meanwhile, Sikju confronts Yuijin directly, questioning his true identity and why his supposed former high school has never heard of him. Yuna, on the other hand, has gone to meet Daeunyu for answers. Will Yuijin's true identity be uncovered? What actions will Yuna take towards Daeunyu? Find out in the next installment of the story. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any updates, and to leave a like and a comment to let us know your thoughts.